योगः कर्मसु कौशलम्.
Hello friends, this is Dr. Komal Shah, Assistant Professor at Department of Communication and Journalism, Gujarat University. I'm thankful to UGC HRDC Gujarat University and Department of Social Sciences for giving me this opportunity to virtually deliver this refresher interaction in social sciences on the topic New Media in Indian Democracy. Before we go ahead with today's session, we will first talk about the topics and the sections included in this lecture. The whole lecture is divided into two parts. Part 1 talks about the meaning of democracy, media, its role and importance in the society, the relation between media and democracy. Part 2 would include evolution and rise of new media in the last decade, new media and its role in democracy, and the way forward. So, first, we try and understand the meaning and explanation of the word democracy. Democracy, as we all know, is a system of government in which all the people of a country choose and elect their representatives. Media came into existence in 1780 with the introduction of the Bengal Gazette. And since then, it has matured leaps and bounds. While democracy is a popular political notion in today's world, where fair and free elections are the prerequisite of a democracy and rule of the law, protection and freedom of human rights and supremacy of the constitution are important elements in a true democratic system. For a democratic country, access to information is essential. Freedom to read or write is an important element to expose and reveal the truth, to ensure self development and self fulfillment, and to help ensure participation of citizens in a democracy. In other words, democracy ensures that citizens make responsible, informed choices rather than acting out of ignorance or misinformation. Therefore, a democratic system can run to its paramount potential when there is extensive participation of the masses, which is not possible without people getting informed about various issues. And this is where the media steps in. Now, let's try and understand the media as an instrument, its meaning, and the role it plays in the society. Media means communication, whether it is written, broadcast, or spoken. Generally, the word communication is defined as an exchange of information and messages. However, mass media denote a section of the media which is specially designed to reach a larger audience. Liberated media is an essential part of any democracy, as the media has an extraordinary ability to act as a catalyst in the society towards its effort to strengthen the democratic polity. Mass media in its different forms have influenced human life in many ways. Being the leader over a considerable period of time, the print media is still regarded as the authentic medium of mass communication. Apart from providing news and views, radio and television has also developed a flair for entertainment. And now the latest form of media, named the new media with internet, has made it possible to disseminate information and ideas in real time, and that too across the globe. By airing divergent views and engaging in cross questioning on significant national and social issues, the media reflects and informs public opinion and practically shares the task of the parliament. Let's try and understand the importance and role of media in society. The communication scenario around the world is changing at a very fast pace. Due to the arrival of new media technologies, the sophisticated devices, the novel concepts, has given pace to the process of information flow. Along with this technological advancement, media has also changed a lot in terms of both format and content. The internet enabled communication platforms and the resultant media convergence have evoked debates on new media, on democracy, on nation and state, on citizenship, and the new age governance. It has also questioned or debated the very role and function of media. Moreover, the politics of globalization is also evident before us in many forms. In the midst of all this setting, it is very much relevant to think about the role of media in a democratic space and also the challenging role of the state to govern this new breed of citizens. Today, the world the word media is used by the general public in all the spectrums of life. It is not a surprise because no industry has grown or extended and succeeded as the media industry in the present times. Under the garb of speech and expression, media is now omnipresent. It has invaded all the facets of life of any individual. This fact is not only applicable to the Indian soils, but is a global phenomenon. Not only this, the media has become so powerful that it can make or break the government by influencing the people. The public also heavily depends on the media to secure information. In this scenario, the question of accountability of powerful media arises. We need to understand the we, public, as the active participants of the media. The public is required to shape the role of media because this commanding instrument can be used as a boon or a bane. Media has a fundamental right of freedom of speech and expression, which can be used as per its whims and fancies. The modern age is generally considered to be the age of representative democracy. And the mass media are an informal but an essential component of that representative democracy. Equally important is the fact that a democratic polity is an instrument or is an institutional guarantee of a free, fair, and fearless media. Further, we also need to understand media and democracy. How are they related or interrelated to each other in terms of a democratic country like India? In India, however, media has developed and emerged as a very powerful and influential tool in all matters, importance and power of media can never be denied. Media policies, media content, media persons, have a direct or indirect influence on the audience. Mass media and democracy are always related to each other, as media is a mirror of the society, and how democratic a society is can be represented through the media. The opinion leaders have been influencing the public opinion regarding political leaders and political system in any country. Hence, media has an influential role in strengthening the democracy. Media and democracy have strong association. It has also been said that countries which are strong democracies also always have a resilient and free media. In the role of watchdog, the media can promote government transparency, accountability, public scrutiny of decision makers in power, and highlight the policy failures. It can also highlight the maladministration by public officials. It can come up or it can highlight the corruption in the judiciary or the scandals which are involved in the corporate sector. Thus, media acts as a mirror. The media acts as a strong agency to formulate and organize public opinions. Relevance and importance have been adequately dealt in this lecture. The role of media as public forum is vital. Media functions as an agenda setter, providing information about urgent social problems. The free press can strengthen the public sphere by mediating between citizen and the state and by facilitating debate about major issues of the day and by informing the public about their leaders. Thus, a good democracy, first and foremost, needs to broadly legitimize the regime that completely satisfies its citizens. Hence, to strengthen the democracy, India requires to safeguard its citizens first. Media is a tool for social change. Through promoting programs like the Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao, and the building and maintenance of clean toilets, Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, saving of water and saving of fuel. Media is quite successful in promoting the social values and protecting the environment to some extent. The media is also responsible to grant aid, assistance, and help the needy people in situations like a pandemic or a catastrophe. The media provides the helplines in case of adverse contingency or disasters. The channels of communication reflect the social and cultural pluralism within each society in a fair and impartial balance. This role is particularly important during election campaigns, as fair access to the airwaves to the opposition parties or candidates or groups is critical to create a competitive, free, and fair election scenario. The role played by media in a democracy is complex and varied. Media operates as an additional check and balance on government. It tries to promote an atmosphere of answerability. It also provides a public forum for debate and encourages an informed and educated citizen Through this, media takes part in a crucial manner in the formation and maintenance of public sphere in a society. The public sphere is that domain of our social life in which such thing as public opinion is formed. This public opinion echoes the concepts of freedom in a democratic society. And the freedom is totally different from the commodification that we see all around us. It is a widely accepted notion that the media both strengthens and benefits the democracy. But an irresponsible functioning of the mainstream media or the dominant media can harm the very essence of democracy, which can further lead to tainted public sphere. Such a scene can bring media to act as a mouthpiece for a particular interest group, which can be a government or a large corporation. If this happens, eventually the media fails in its role to defend democratic governance by undermining it. Thus, we understand the role of media in a democracy. It can have both the positive as well as negative role. Next, we need to understand the evolution of new media. How, when, and where realm of computation, reducing things to their logical equivalents, enabling information to be easily transmitted, compared, and transformed. New media describes any digital media production that is interactive and digitally distributed. The two fundamental features that distinguish new media from the traditional forms of media, and much of which still exists today, are: the first is transmission and accessibility, which means the emphasis on the integration of multimedia platforms and the use of new media through internet as the major channel. The second is interactivity, the most defining quality of the new media, which makes it as the future media. Internet enabled technologies like the websites, video audio streaming, chat rooms, various social networking, and online community platforms, virtual reality environments, mobile phone technology, the internet, telephony, all comes under the category of new media. An important promise of new media is the democratization of the creation, publishing, distribution, and consumption of media content. The digital technology, which enables the content to be digitized to bits, makes this a dynamic platform of content production and which is done in real time. It was only in the late 1980s that the networked environment appeared through the computer aided designs. Eventually, with the advent of digital technology and personal computer industry, widespread use of new media technologies became a reality. There are web enabled electronic accessories in the current era like mobile phones, laptops, tabs, PCs, and various other interactive devices, which made new media as a commendable experience of our times. The last 25 years have seen the rapid transformation into media, which are which are predicated upon the use of digital computers such as the internet and computer games. All other media forms have been transiting during this period by incorporating new media or the new media enabled features. Noted scientist Russell Newman has also commented on the blurring interpersonal mass communication differentiation in this new media age. He pointed out that the public and the private communication has never ever before been intermeshed like this. Newman also argues that new media will alter the meaning of geographic distance. It will allow for a huge increase in the volume of communication. Qualities like the massive speed of communication, the capacity to overlap and interconnect other forms of communication that were previously separate were regarded by Newman as the groundbreaking features of this futuristic medium. We also need to understand the rise of new media in recent decade. The phenomenal rise of new media platforms such as Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and others is proving to be a double edged sword in the functioning of democracies. On one hand, it has democratized access to information. On the other hand, It has concentrated power over that information with a handful of private companies like the billionaire owners and certain ideologically committed activist groups. Billions of netizens around the world now feel empowered to bypass the traditional curators of information, such as the journalists and the editors, and they can search for their choice of content through the new media. These billions of netizens have also become the creators and disseminators of content. They are not only just the consumers of the content. Further, the tech platforms are directing more content at people, similar to what they have already seen. Thus, this new media is creating echo chambers of like minded groups. On the other hand, misinformation on new media is also trying to alter public opinion for the worse and create a sense of panic and restlessness among the public. New media is a platform which is highly liberal and it allows common citizens to put forward their views regarding a policy or an act or an ordinance. It also allows the people to directly communicate with their leaders, and the leaders are even empowered through the new media and can directly communicate with the people. So, vice versa, both is true. So, the public opinion is more amplified on new media, especially on the social media, making democracy more transparent and even stronger. Thus, we come to that juncture where we need to understand as to how new media and democracy are related to each other, or is there any relation at all. Today, new media plays a crucial role in facilitating and distributing content related to all the matters that have a larger influence on public opinion. New media has cumulatively helped the average citizen more in this pandemic than most modern governments. During this pandemic, it has connected broken healthcare systems. It acted as a breaking news platform. It tried to connect the kind volunteers and the depressed loved ones through a digital string in a way that the heads of the states were not able to do it. But we need these mediums for even more important reasons. We need these mediums to amplify the crying rallies of the weak. We need this medium to curtail the arrogance of the strong. Media, as we all know, constitutes the fourth pillar of democracy. It plays an important role in keeping democracy alive and thriving, which we have already gone through in a previous section. The role of media is vital as a watchdog for uncovering errors and wrongdoings in the democracy. Although new media helps in the deepening of democracy, it also tends to weaken the concept of democracy because of its unregulated nature and its role in the spread of fake news. Let's try and understand new media and its relation or the deepening of democracy through new media. How it does, especially in a country like India. First and foremost, it has helped in aiding sea governance. Sea governance, new media has led to the emergence of citizen led governance in India. New media platforms help to create awareness from one another to a million and be united for any social cause. In the process, the existence of new media can nudge the citizens to seek solutions. Also, for citizen governance, people need to have information and be able to convey it to others. Thus, the new media platforms makes this a lot easier to convey information and to get information. Given this, the new media is gradually being accepted as the fifth estate of democracy. Next, we also need to understand the democratization of expression through new media. New media has made Indian politics more inclusive by allowing its common citizens who were traditionally excluded from politics, maybe due to geography or demography, to gain direct entry into the political process. It has also allowed for a diversity of viewpoints and public engagement at an unprecedented scale, which was not possible or which we have never experienced through the traditional media forms. We also need to understand its role as an instrument for bringing behavioral change. Use of new media for policy crowdsourcing and publicity is very much evident through the success of pan India campaigns like Swachh Bharat Abhiyan and the recently launched campaign of Fit India movement. We also need to understand how new media is making political communication more people centric. New media has been increasingly used by Indian political actors for routine political communication between elections to provide unmediated and direct communication to connect with the citizens. New media has changed the power of political messaging and has moved away from the mass media model as it firmly places itself into the peer to peer and public discourse formats. Together with the positives of new media and democracy, we also need to take a look at the ill effects of new media on democracy. What and where are they all about? First of all, new media has widened the social fault lines. It has enabled a style of populist politics, which on the negative side allows hate speech, extreme speech to thrive in digital spaces since they are all unregulated and particularly for regional languages. They have also helped in the formation of information cocoons due to its technological capacity. There have been self sorting and personalization of information. This has led to the phenomenon of group polarization. In this group, like minded people talk to one another and end up thinking a more extreme version of what they thought before they started to talk. And this, we all know, is not in sync with the ethos of democracy, as the ethos are all based on debate, dissent, and discussion, which is fading out in the new media. Next, we also need to understand the menace of fake news, how it has created a polarity and the diversive content which has taken a center stage in the modern political setup. This all is being fed by fake news propagation through new media channels. Dissemination of fake news through new media among populations which are critically digital illiterate is a challenge, as the common citizens have very low levels or no levels of critical digital literacy. So they are not able to distinguish between fake news and the truth. Next, we also need to understand the cyberbullying or trolling aspect of new media. This is another dangerous element of labeling and trolling of more rational voices, or the voices who disregard with the government's actions or disregard the dominant public discourse and are all termed as anti-nationals. New media has enabled a style of populist politics, which on the negative side allows hate speech and extreme speech to thrive in digital spaces, since these digital spaces are unregulated, especially when it involves regional languages content. Corporate and political power has overwhelmed large sections of the media, both print and visual, which has led to vested interest and destroy the freedom. The rise of polarizing and divisive content in modern politics is fed by the fake news propagation through new media channels. The journalists too are feeling the threat due to new media. Section 124A of IPC, under which sedition is punishable by life imprisonment, endangers the freedom of journalists. The journalists are not able to work freely and are constantly in the fear of being or of being getting harmed through or because of the new media propagations. The newly minted Information Technology Rule of 2021 also imposes certain obligation on significant new media intermediaries. They need to follow those guidelines, the media ethics, the ethical codes of the media. Many terror modules were busted by the police in India, all of whose members were groomed, trained, funded by the handlers on social networking sites. World over, there are cases of terrorist operations also, especially lone wolf attacks, as they have been called, which are all coordinated through the new media. Thus, we see that together with the positive aspects of the new media, there are very grave ill effects of this media, which can harm the democracy of a country. So, what is the way forward? Are we or will we ever be able to keep a check and balance on this new media? Or how are we supposed to use the new media? We all know new media awareness is needed, which will enable the citizens to be in a position to distinguish between truth and what is false. They also need to understand where they might be manipulated and what are the democratic processes involved in it. New media platforms can provide safeguards in the event that democratic process are being intentionally disrupted or harmful falsehoods are spreading. It can help people find out what is true. Although India has the Press Council of India and specific regulations, the country also needs a more detailed law regarding the media to protect not only the freedom of expression and speech, but also protect the safety of the journalist. There is a need to establish independent press councils, media watch groups, media self regulatory bodies which are autonomous from the government. Similarly, the Information and Broadcasting Wing has been assisting various arms of the government in keeping an eye on activities on various social media platforms. This type of practices must be encouraged at all levels and all scales in institutions. Several digital media houses have put up automated and human driven editorial processes to promote or filter certain types of content. These artificial intelligence units will automatically flash the danger of misreporting every time that an image or a content is shared. This practice needs to be strengthened and needs to be disseminated, which will really help us in the way forward while we are using the new media. As India is not a surveillance state, there must not be any illegal or unconstitutional check on the right to privacy and freedom of speech and expression, which are the fundamental rights of every citizen. New media awareness is needed, which may enable citizens to be in a position to distinguish between truth and falsehood, and to know when democratic processes are being manipulated. There must be a balance, as the Constitution itself has provided several limitations on one's right to speech and expression. Though new media platforms can provide safeguards in the event that the democratic processes are being intentionally disrupted or harmful, it can help people find out what is true. Digital democracy can only evolve through platforms of freedom. For the first time in history, we have an instrument that can question the seemingly invincible governments, make them accountable, and bring sustained change drive by people, which is beyond the one vote in years. But the dark parody is that the political parties need this new media to survive far more than the people to stay afloat. With this, we come to the end of this session. Hope the session would have helped you understand in depth about new media and its importance in a democratic country like India. Do post in your comments and queries for this session and wish you all the best for the refresher program. Thank you.